Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our episode number 7 of the podcast, People First, the Heart of Business. This podcast brings together voices from those who support, uplift, empower, and work with people every day. I am Gabriela Castro-Smith from Trading Motion, supporting companies with the right talent for their operations. Today on our podcast, People First, the Heart of Business, we are honored to welcome an outstanding guest who is widely recognized for her commitment to people's growth in the mining industry. Sophie Dessart, Communications and Public Affairs Manager from Florence Copper in Arizona, has been a dedicated advocate for workforce development, community engagement, and empowering talent within the mining sector. Sophie Dessart's experience centers around strategic communications, journalism, and project management. In her role at Florence Copper, Sophie leads Florence Copper's community and media relations, charitable initiatives, and communications strategy. She also serves as president of the Florence Copper Community Foundation. Join us as we explore her journey, the values that guide her work, and how Florence Copper is helping shape the future of mining through people-centered relationship and leadership. Welcome to our podcast, Sophie. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you very much. And I've been thinking about, I know you for some years, and we are both working in the mining industry. And there are really in the mining industry so many good and nice stories of people working within the industry. So please tell us about your own path, how you got into mining, and your role today at Florence Copper.
That is a fantastic question. I can tell you that I never expected to end up in the mining industry. If you look back at me as a kid, I was the little girl who played with Barbies, whose favorite color was pink. When I tell people that I ended up in the mining industry, including my own family, they are absolutely shocked. And I think my path to mining is very similar to many others in the sense that not many of us really expect to end up in this industry. Upon completing my undergraduate degree, I started off in business consulting. And I really realized through my role in business consulting that I was very passionate, not about being behind a computer necessarily and doing a bunch of research, though I do enjoy that, but being out and talking with people, doing client interviews, and really getting out and presenting. And with that in mind, I started to pursue external relations more than just consulting. And when I moved into my master's degree, I actually connected with an alum from my master's program who happened to have an external relations consulting firm. And I ended up working for him. And little did I know that when I started at that firm, all of our clients, except for one legacy client, were in the mining industry. So suddenly I'm dipping my toe into mining, and I just absolutely loved the industry. We are a family in the mining industry. Everyone treats each other so well. We take care of each other. And I just absolutely adored that feeling that no matter where I am in the world, if I walk into a group that is a group in mining, I will see at least one person I know, and that person's going to greet me with a big hug. So that has really kept me in the industry. And now at Florence Copper, I really am able to pursue my passion of being out there and speaking with people in my role in external relations, because I am the point of contact for the community, for media groups, and also the person that goes out and presents often on behalf of the company. And then above all, I really am passionate about giving back and supporting my community. I live in Florence, and the fact that I'm able to run our charitable foundation and our scholarship program at Florence Copper is something that really is near and dear to my heart and is the reason that I will stay in this industry for the rest of my life, the fact that I'm able to give back and support my community.
Great. And I want to invite people who are listening to us to visit Florence. It's beautiful. It's it looks all brand new. They have the downtown of Florence is really beautiful. They have boutiques, they have uh, restaurants, and I think that it's a place to visit in Arizona.
I always say it's the best town in Arizona.
Yeah, I agree. Very nice town. And Sophie, can you explain us about Florence Copper? It is my understanding that it's currently in a growth phase. Uh, However, they maybe you can explain us a little bit about the in situ copper recovery project because it's something not very common, not everyone knows about this. If you want to explain us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a really good question because normally when people think of a copper mine, they think of an, big open pit copper operation, or they think, an underground copper operation. And Florence Copper is neither of those two. We use technology called in situ copper recovery to produce our copper. In very simple terms, not getting into the too technical details, we basically dissolve copper below ground into liquid form, pull that liquid copper-rich solution back above ground for processing through a series of wells, and then we plate that liquid copper-rich solution back into solid form again using electricity as part of what is called a solvent extraction and electrowinning plant. And the final product that we create at Florence Copper is what we would call an LME grade A copper cathode. And that process really brings a lot of benefits in the sense that we aren't doing any blasting, we aren't hauling millions of pounds of rock, we don't have any, traditional mining like big haul trucks, major mining equipment like that. And if you actually go out and see our well field, as we call it, where we're extracting that copper from the ground in liquid form, basically looks like an empty field with a couple pieces of equipment sticking out of the ground. So you would never even guess if you drove by our site in Florence that we've actually produced already over 1 million pounds of copper on our site.
Yeah, that's true. You can walk. I never thought that there is a project there. I agree with you. And at this moment, Sophie, where you are or where the company is in the operations, and what types of opportunities are being created?
Yes, Florence Copper is at a very exciting point in our operations. So, as I mentioned, we've already produced over 1 million pounds of copper, and we are now expanding that smaller scale facility into commercial operations. And so, with that, as of the end of June, that construction project was over 90% complete. As part of our expansion into commercial operations, we also are expanding our team. So we've grown rapidly over the past couple years. I can give an example. Since January of 2023, we have grown our number of direct employees from about 35 to over 100 today. I am incredibly proud to say that of those that we've hired during that period, the majority have been local Pinal County residents. We very much are committed to providing those good local opportunities to our community. And just this year, we expect to hire 70 plus additional direct employees. And those opportunities include a variety of positions, everything from skilled technicians to maintenance staff to metallurgists and lab staff, supervisors and team leads, security positions, and even administrative support staff. And ultimately, as we kind of hire these people, as we finalize this construction period and move into commissioning, we expect to produce our first copper cathode from our expanded commercial facilities by the end of this year. And then when fully operational, we'll have an average annual production capacity of 85 million pounds of copper per year for 22 years. And we will be the first US copper mine to move into commercial operations in over a decade in the United States. So we're incredibly excited to provide this new domestic source of copper for both our everyday lives and also our domestic mineral security.
And this is one of the beauties of the industry, because they are in remote places, they are in small towns, they are out of big cities, and they provide work and they create opportunities in those areas, which maybe if a mine is not there, the opportunities will be less. So I think that it creates jobs, and of course it's a chain. There's a mine, so now they are more businesses because you have to feed the people who work there. So it's I think it's the mining industry is doing a great job.
Absolutely.
And
Actually, Florence Copper is expected to contribute $4.3 billion in economic activity to the state of Arizona over the course of our project. So yeah, speaking to not just, economic activity through wages, but also through all of those ancillary benefits from purchasing, from taxes, etc.
yeah, exactly. It's wonderful. And Sophie, I live in Arizona, so I hear a lot about uh, Florence Copper employees that are involved and giving back to community. Can you explain us a little bit about what they do, how they contribute to giving back to community?
Absolutely. That is something that is really at the core of Florence Copper. We always like to say that we create 360 degrees of value. So we don't just create value by the copper that we produce, but also value for the environment, for our employees, and for the local community. And speaking to that local community element, our employees are really the drivers of that. And that is everything from opportunities within the workday. So Florence Copper has adopted a mile that runs in front of our property on Hunt Highway, and our employees are welcome and encouraged to volunteer for road cleanups during regular work hours. And everyone who's volunteers is actually entered in a drawing even for a gift card to a local restaurant. So it's very much something that is part of kind of our everyday, encouragement to give back. And beyond that, there's other opportunities, like, for instance, Florence Makes a Difference Day. This is a town-wide volunteer event organized by the town of Florence. Florence Copper always brings a team to volunteer on a different project that benefits the community. So last year, for instance, we volunteered helping clean up a local cemetery alongside the Florence Rotary Club and Florence Women's Club. And as part of that, we actually all donate, the Florence Copper as a company donates I Heart Florence t-shirts for all of the volunteers. And to end out the day, our employees actually serve lunch to the volunteers during that townwide volunteer event. And then finally, I would say probably the most formal way that our employees are encouraged to give back is the fact that their voices are integrated into our formal charitable initiatives, including our scholarship program and our charitable foundation.
Okay. Yeah, so in fact, Florence Copper is really supporting the company, and the employees is supporting the community all the time.
Yes, very
Great
important.
job. Yeah, it's very important, as you say, it's very important. And now that the project is growing, the Florence Copper continues to grow. How are you maintaining a people's first culture during this fast-paced phase of development?
Absolutely. That is a fantastic question because, as I mentioned, we've grown from about 35 employees in January 2023 to over 100 now. That is a massive growth phase and, 70 plus more employees just this year. And so, really, we are focused on from day one creating a welcoming family culture. So, when you start your first day at Florence Copper, we give you an employee welcome gift with a handwritten card welcoming you to the team with all of your Florence Copper swag that you need to start out your journey at Florence Copper. And it really goes from there. So there's a lot of different ways that the company showcases how it appreciates our employees. And one example that I would give and kind of how it's scaled is in the past, we used to do monthly barbecues that were like employee appreciation events where we would literally be out front of our administrative building grilling up burgers ourselves for our employees. Obviously, when you do have 35 employees, that's a little bit more doable than when you have 100 plus
Of
employees.
course.
And we don't want to, of course, give up that because that's such a great opportunity to show how we appreciate our employees and also bring everyone together. And so what we have done is we've moved from doing those, informal little barbecues to every month now we bring out a different local food truck and we buy lunch for our entire team. And so during a certain time period, people, when they have the opportunity, can swing by, grab lunch. We put our cornhole set out there. There's some picnic tables if people want to eat inside. There's also spaces inside because it is quite hot right now in Arizona. But it's really still an opportunity that we've scaled what we used to do into a larger event for our employees that still brings us all together. And similarly, beyond those kind of smaller things like, the employee food truck we call Food Truck Thursdays, we also do quarterly events that are planned by a fund committee that encompasses employees throughout the organization who are specifically focused as part of that committee on giving opportunities for us to come together and really promote that people first culture. So for instance, in a couple of days, actually this weekend, we are going to be having a big family fun day for all of our employees and their families at the local Fat Cats in Queen Creek, which is basically for those who aren't familiar, a business that has bowling, arcade,
Yeah.
and also glow golf. And we're covering all of that and lunch for our employees and their families. So it's really, as we grow, ensuring that we can continue to scale those efforts to bring together our employees and really show them how much we appreciate them.
Yeah, good job from Florence Copper. They will have fun. And now that I work in the Copper Corridor in that area, let me know when you will have that truck, food truck, and I will be stopping in Florence because it's my way from Phoenix. It's my way to the Copper Corridor. I go
Yeah,
through.
you are always welcome. I'll have to tell you the next time because we've gotten some fun local food trucks out. So next time around, I'll shoot you the calendar invite, and you're more than welcome to come and enjoy some food with our team.
Thank you, Sophie. So, Sophie, to conclude our podcast, I want to I want you because I mean you are, as I said at the beginning, you are well known. You know the industry. People know you in around the area, and I think that in the US you are very well known. What advice would you offer to other companies, especially those in your industry in mining, who want to build a strong people-centered culture like yours?
Well, I'm very honored that you would ask that and for all your kind words during this podcast. Thank you so much. I would say, from Florence Copper's perspective, first of all, we always want to ensure that we have voices from across the organization helping to drive our employee appreciation initiatives and our charitable initiatives. For instance, the fund committee that I mentioned that puts together those events that bring together our team and really look for opportunities to show how we appreciate our team, that has folks from operations, from human resources, from public affairs, from our technical services department. So it's really ensuring that there are diverse voices across the table, helping to drive those initiatives, showing that we appreciate our employees. I would also say it's very important to ensure that you walk the talk, and that includes the highest levels of leadership. So if you are encouraging employees to give back to the community, you have to ensure that, managers are out there as well, helping out. One of my absolute favorite photos from one of our road cleanups is a photo of our general manager very proudly holding up a giant bag of trash from a road cleanup, and because he was out there cleaning up the road alongside of us. And in fact, we actually kind of had to drag him in after a little while because he was so enthusiastic that he was one of the last people out on the road cleaning up. And it just really speaks to the fact that our, management team as well is very much committed and walks the talk with these initiatives. And then I would say, finally, it's very important, as I mentioned, to ensure that when you're going out and giving back to the local community, that is really, grounded and driven by our employees. So I mentioned briefly our charitable foundation and our scholarship program. Our charitable foundation has a board that consists of both members of the Florence Copper team and also members of the local community. And since 2013, we've given over $162,000 in grants to local nonprofits and initiatives. And again, those employee voices are embedded in helping guide those donations. Our scholarship committee, same thing. We gave $18,500 in scholarships this year. Those scholarships were determined by an employee volunteer committee, and those employees then got to go out and give those scholarships to the local students. So it's very much ensuring that whatever that you're doing, it is driven by your people.
Yeah, exactly. Like people first. What's the most important asset worldwide? People.
Absolutely.
And so,
Our team is amazing at Florence
yeah.
Copper. We're so blessed to have them.
So visit Florence, please.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the last question for people wanting to work in Florence Copper, what do they have to do?
Absolutely. Well, we are definitely looking for members of our team, so please come our way. If you are interested in working at Florence Copper, you can go to our website, florencecopper.com/careers. That will give you all of the details of what it's like to work at Florence Copper. And at the bottom of that page is all of our current job opportunities. And please do keep an eye on that page because we are constantly updating it as we expand our team and move into commercial operations.
Great. So Sophie, thank you very much for accepting our invitation. We are really honored. And so you are welcome to this podcast whenever you want. And thank you everyone for listening to us. This is our podcast number 7. This is our 7th recording, and we'll have much more. So I am Gabriela Castro, as I said at the beginning, with Trade in Motion, and
I'm Sophie Dessart with Florence Copper. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
thank you very much.